sufficient explanation for our decision. Okay, thank you very much. I'm now delighted to welcome John to the podium.
Thank you to all the organizers of this. For the first time in my life, I lived in the city of New York for many years, in the 80s, early 90s. I'm going to begin with a poem from memory called You Must Love, which talks about the loss of language. And curiously, in my case, I lost one language or two languages, and I acquired 4 or 5 others, but the ones I lost included Tamil, which is my native language. You must love. You must love the land when you leave to build your house on the sea. Love what's lost, the mango tree burning in the garden, the curious noose of the familiar coat of arms. Love the ball turning strong, spinning in a dark, faraway land. Love the tongue you'll never again speak, that wrapped you and bled you and dried up some every day on the other side of the sea. Which may explain why one of my books is called The Migrant States, and the poetry of migration has been a phrase that stuck with me from early on when the writer and critic, poet Ramanujan said something in my first book, a welcome addition to the poetry of migration. I love that phrase and so on. And when I wrote this book, The Migrant States, I wanted to address Whitman, because some of these poems were written around his 200th birthday. And for some reason, for me, as a migrant to the United States and a migrant poet in the United States, I wanted to address Whitman in a dialogue. So throughout this book, there are poems sort of back and forth toward Whitman. And this was written on his 200th birthday, Walt 200. Break the locks, unleash the mind. Walt Whitman has left Paumanok. He is abroad. He is sitting among us in our soul. He flies the post with pigeons and the giant freight planes. He hops freight trains and rides into Mexico. He's on a P&O cruise visiting St. Kitts in Barbados. He has joined the merchant marine. He sails into Guantanamo. He throws fish into the sea in search of whales. He has the biggest, longest beard in the world. He jives, thrives, cavorts, shimmers. He's 200 years old today and he does not give a flying rat. He's in your mind, Mr. President, even if you cannot smother or scratch or squeeze him out. He is glorious, his spirit, gadfly, rabbit and sloth. He nurses our democratic wounds. He knows how to write history from the pebble's view, the side glance of the wren, the snake hanging in the tree. He is black and white and all shades of grey. He is our friend and guide, and he will elect us every time we fall down. Let us go back to Paumanok with what we've learned these 200 years. Let us go back to set forth again Walt Whitman in our backpack. I had a chance to go to the birthplace and read there in early May. I'm a poet fully steeped in nostalgia, but as so many poets are. This one's called Curtain Call, which I picked up for A.P. David, a brother of mine. When you please, make the reader laugh. Lighten the baggage he carries around home, street, and office. You reach the first level of enlightenment. Then you pause, consulting the poets along the way. Yeats wrote What Then? Cavafy offered that you cannot escape the city in which you were born. Nazim dreamed of a straw blonde, a night train across Europe, poplars falling, and the Turkey from which he remained in exile. Exile is the modern condition, Ceylon felled like a poplar, but how did Java vanish, or British Honduras? I feel a need to inform myself of what is passing down the slide in Belize, around the Riffstaffel I used to taste, Marmite on my tongue, jellied eels, kippers, mash, but I'm not returning to England this Christmas. The journey longer and deeper, up the coast to Jaffna, where Papa had wanted to go on foot after the stroke, pottering about the house in Colombo, and we held him back. The impossible return. My brother David says one goes awkwardly to meet oneself, and she speaks gibberish back. I do not resist the urge to borrow his line. At this stage of life, individual ambition is a bit silly, like Lear amusing himself with his 100 nights in the homes of his dissembling eldest daughters. He learned his lesson, found his reckoning on the moor. I hear myself saying, just the gratitude is the rub. I will love you according to my bond, no more, no less. Cordelia spoke truth, my brother too. Bring Ceylon back on stage, a revival, limited engagement. Furnish the set with poplars and palmyras. Let there be peace accords signed every night before a roaring house. Open admission. Even dictators may take their seats, but they will not, of course. They will not be allowed to sit in peace. Ghosts will rise from the trapdoor, stride in front, in from stage left and right. The proscenium will break down into theatre in the round, and actors will take charge of fate, if only for the length of the curtain call. I didn't set my timer, but I don't even own a timer, so but I've tried to time myself. It's called self-policing. Is that an adequate way of living? Democracy? Code of honor. I did have an honor code in Haverford College, so it meant a lot then, and it still does, but can we have a code of honor for the country? So, an honor code. English migrant. I'm digging into English memory. Barbara Earl's class. Barbara Earl, by the way, was my teacher at Punahou School back in the 70s. I'm digging into English memory. Barbara Earl's class. Wordsworth and daffodils, trying out for Twelfth Night and casting as ship captain and priest, minor characters not related to the play's leading families, a sensitive point for a Tamil boy unaware of his extreme solitude, added to his wish to belong, to graft himself upon the American tree. But Miss Earl helped me along, selecting me later as the lawyer in the senior variety show, a major role in front of the entire school, a speaking part in a musical, tweed-blazered, spectacled and English accented in an America that respected the Queen's English even more than her subjects, a strange yet minor twist to more than 200 years of independence and development of the special relationship. And now, where did I intend to stroll among the daffodils, reading the lake poets in Honolulu under palm trees by the Pacific, eating guava and mangoes, wearing slippers? The wonderful life of the English scholar in the tropics, comforted by the poetry, even if the flora did not correspond to the melody. I became a citizen and learned later from Whitman that America contains a contradictory, brimming multitude, which Lorca discovered as well when he walked downtown from Columbia, the year of the great crash, writing poetry in New York. Thank you. So those are some poems from the migrant states, and I'll read now and finish with these poems from 10,000 Steps Against the Tyrant. Now, you may ask, which tyrant, right? It was actually the orange-haired one, you know. And most of these poems were written in 2020 during the campaign against that fellow. But they have a shelf life, I think, now that we're in 2023 and talking about political themes. I'll discuss this later as well. I'm thinking a lot about my mother today, who's been hospitalized and ill the last weeks. And in 2020, we We went together to vote. Voting song. I'm going to take Mother to the polling station. This may be her last chance to vote for the right path from the burning bush, sinking ship, roadkill, victims of the raging virus. I'm going to take Mother to the polling station. And son, make sure you get that absentee ballot sent here while you visit. Every vote will count. And daughter, although you cannot vote, not this time, I want you to know that we have tried with all of our heart and mind to throw the bastards out. My love, I'm voting. I'm crying, yes, but not to worry. These are happy tears, tears of bliss. I did not think God would have time to look out for me. Thank you, angel who intervened. Thank you, kindness to strangers, what you taught me, Mum and Dad. Thank you, poets, I love you as I love myself. Thank you, diplomats. Thank you, Kamla and Joe. Thank you, friends of America, Asia, Arabia, Australia, Europe, India, the Pacific Isles. Thank you, all peoples, animals, birds, plants, seeds, works of art, music and dance not yet mentioned. Thank you, my love, 14. So you can extract any line and put it in for a Get the Vote Out campaign. Soul rising. I miss you something fierce. I have to tell my bones to stop shaking, to calm down, that there is something called work, poetry, cleansing the room, getting food together, attending to Mother, reading fine print and polling, picking up the phone, cold calling a Texan in the name of participatory democracy, the nations and the earth's soul and the dream, jostling about in the coffin, thinking the time is now to break down the wood, pierce the earth, slide out to walk abroad again through these United States. Thank you. There was various mothers in this book, the mother of pandemics, the mother of elections, my own mother. This one's called The Other Side. Mother reads 2 poems every night from Uncivil War, a book I wrote about our bloody island history. She asks what I mean exactly by tigers. She says she remembers reading about sepalica flowers. She says she has never understood poetry, but with a wide-eyed gratitude, innocence, and love for her child, opens the book, the only one that interrupts the rosary, Our Father's, Hail Marys. I'm grateful too, humbled, to have the chance to live with my mother as she prays and reads before what's to come when the book gets handed on and the war with mercy ends. We really don't have an idea of time, but I think I can read maybe a couple more short ones. Yeah, I'll read just 2 more if that's all right, but they're both related to the theme of the mother. Love your neighbor. God gave you a son and daughter, father and mother, brothers, a sister. Your parents brought you up. Now it is your turn to care for mother in her old age. And so it shall be when you too will lead your son and daughter to come and do the needful, to care for you when ill and feeble. You are lucky to have children. What about those kids have been taken away, shot in the street, in a foreign land, fighting for some vague motive in the head of a headless government? What about those who have nobody, who must depend on the village, on a friend? Let us remember the neighbor. Let us take care of each other. Thank you. I finish with late night olive oil. Let us put the letters and fears and boiling emotions on the page, Mummy. Why did you go to the kitchen, stealthily, without a word to your sleeping son, without your walker, to find the large bottle of olive oil, to pour it on the table and floor, to fill a small vessel that you meant to carry back to your room, as if nobody would notice until you called my name, because you could not negotiate the rest of the way from dining table to bedroom, vessel in hand, without cane or walker. I write to atone for my flailing words saying never, never, never again. The kitchen is prohibited. Your mania for oil in the hair is prohibited. The stealthy, mischievous, childish truant foray into the darkness with a torch in hand which you forgot on the countertop. All of this is prohibited. Your losing memory and control are prohibited. These words are prohibited. Decline and death are prohibited. Thank you very much.